Today we dive into the wizarding world to create Peter Pettigrew's first wand from scratch. The plan is to design it in Blender, then bring it to life with 3D printing and add a touch of color. And to up the stakes, I want this to be a one-day build, as it's for a dear friend of mine who's been waiting for this wand for over a year. So, will our wand be worthy of the wizarding world? Let's go find out, and very quickly, this video is sponsored by PCBWay. So without wasting any time, the first thing I had to do was find a good reference image. You'd be surprised how hard it is to find Peter Pettigrew's The Wormtail original wand, his first wand. There's a few people that have fan-made it, and then in all the shots in the film, it's really in darkness, so it's quite a rare find. So at the end, after a lot of digging, I was able to find this image here. And I think this is going to be a good foundational image to go with. I have a feeling that the color is off because I think it's more of a dark, sort of a walnut, chestnut sort of coloring, but we'll deal with that later on. Let's go and see how we're going to turn this image into something 3D. And this here is Blender. If you have no idea what it is, it's basically a free open source 3D modeling program that's I cannot get enough of. In fact, I have an entire free course here on YouTube if you want to go and learn how to get creative with Blender. So what did I do? I put this image into Blender, I scale it up and get it all to the right sort of size that I'm looking for, and then from there I use some very interesting, powerful modeling techniques to basically get the fundamental shape created. Now this is really important because the way that we're going to go about it is get that fundamental, very rough shape, and then from there adding more and more detail. This here is what I got after my first pass. As you can see, it's very blocky. It's not exactly great, but that's just the first steps from it. From here, I'm going to basically turn it to have more definition, and then I'm going to play about doing some sculpting with it. Now, I sculpt away first very roughly to just get things in the right places and get the main bulk of things sorted, and then this here was that end result there. It's definitely starting to look like the wand, but there's definitely not enough detail in there. So I go and I add another level of detail to it. This can be a little bit tedious, but it's a lot of fun. You can sort of just get lost in the process of it because you see that every single time that you're adding another stroke of sculpting away in this, it just brings it all to life. And eventually I got to this result here, and I just wanted to give it that one little bit more bit of detail, considering that I'm going to be using a resin printer on this, and that has an incredible amount of resolution in it. So I give it one last pass, and this here is the final 3D model that I get out of it. So now it's time to get this wand printed, but this is my build plate and I only have about that much area to print on. I'm using the Halot Plus 1 and it's some incredible resolution, but how am I going to get such a big wand in that area? I have to cut it up. So I slice it up and I fit it in this orientation, and the reason why I'm doing that is that if it's nice and small like that, we need this printed quickly. It's going to just print in about 2 hours rather than 8 or 12. So let's get that printed and see if it's going to work out or this entire project is going to end there. So very quickly, I've now had this completely printed out. I haven't looked at it yet. It's something that I really dislike about resin printing, which is I have no idea if this has worked out or not. So this could literally fail the entire project right now before we get to anywhere close. So let's see what comes out of here. Fingers crossed, come on, please. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, it looks like it worked! Look, I'll show you. So it looks like all the parts have come out absolutely perfectly. I'm so happy for that, truly. Like, this would have honestly sucked if it didn't. But now I obviously need to get all masked up because this is nasty stuff. So I'm going to put you off to the side. You'll see me all cleaning it up, and then I'll see you over at the workbench to then let's get this glued together and painted and see if we can get the nice results that we're wanting. So that there almost turned out absolutely perfect, apart from a teeny tiny little chip. I was just getting a little bit too overzealous, and I put too many supports here on the base, and then I trimmed from the base of the support, not the tip of the support, which made it chip. I didn't mean to! Now I'm going to glue that back together with some UV resin or with some super glue, and then I'm going to super glue this all together, and then I want to show you some nice close-up shots of what it's looking like right this minute raw, the good and the bad of it, because I think it's looking awesome. All that detail that we put into the sculpt, it really came into its own life right this minute. So I'm going to show you that, and then once we've done that, we're going to get painting with it, and I have no idea how I'm going to do that, but let's get this together and let me show you how it's looking right now. So that was really nerve-wracking to put together. I did sort of screw up a little bit. It's not perfectly straight, but that's fine. I wanted that organic touch, so I'm happy with that. I did put a little extra super glue on all the joints, so then I have something to sand back to keep it all perfectly smooth. On these close-ups here, you can see it's looking pretty awesome. Like really, there are some incredible details that have really come on great through this. It's hard to see with the white though, but I have to say that the backside is horrific. I really added way too many supports, and now I have so much sanding and filling to get on with. So I'm going to go and get straight on with that, and then let's see how this is going to turn out. But very quickly, let's have a quick little message from today's sponsor. PCBWay is revolutionizing the maker world with their premium cost-effective services. Not only do they excel at creating a vast array of PCBs, but they also offer everything from CNC machining to sheet metal fabrication to injection molding and every type of 3D printing you can imagine. Discover how you can use PCBWay to take your maker projects to the next level by clicking the link down in the description. And a big thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. So after what feels like an eternity, I finally have this sanded. It took quite a bit longer than I expected. I had to keep filling holes up with super glue and then sanding them back down, but it's looking so good now. Like truly, the only thing that's left is right down inside of this. There are some layer lines, but I don't think I'll ever be able to get them out. But apart from that, it is looking spotless now. I'll give you some close-ups right this minute of it, and it's looking fantastic. So let's go and get some paint on this. Right, well, once I've put the first coat on here, well, it's looking cool, it really is, but I'm not too happy with the job I've done here. There's still some pits here that I want to fill up, and on top of that, right here on the front end, there is a teeny little scratch gash somewhere around here. Where is it gone? Right here, there's a teeny little scratch gash that I want to really work out. And then all the way on this side, well, it looks a little bit more like a tentacle more than anything else. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to basically go back, sand all this, then give it another coat, and then we're going to come back to find out exactly how I'm going to color this, because to be honest, from what I see online, this is supposed to be a dark chestnut, but the reference image I have is just pure black. So I might go for a dark chestnut instead.
A few moments later.
Right, so now that I've re-scuffed this up, I've gone ahead and I've got rid of all the biggest things, but I've also gone and just taken off as much of the primer as possible, and also left some, because I think this is going to leave an interesting textural grain to it, and as I'm wanting to do chestnut wood, that might come in my favor. I also think that now that because I've worked this so much, there's going to be a whole bunch more lumps and bumps in it. But as there's going to be that all over the place, it's probably going to add character to the one. So let's give that other coat of primer on now and see how that's turning out, and then decide on the paint job. And finally, we have it primed once again. Here are some close-ups. It's looking great. I know I keep saying that, but I really am happy with it this time because all of those extra little scratches and bumps that I've sort of given it while trying to get rid of scratches and bumps has added a real organic feel to it. So I'm really excited to get this painted. I'm a little bit scared though because I haven't done any painting in years. So if I remember correctly, you start with the light colors, then go to the dark colors, and I'm going to do a whole bunch of putting on and taking it off and trying to get some texture. I'm going to probably use a scuffed up brush as well. And let's see how that goes and if I utterly screw up all the work that I put into this. But we don't have that much time, so let's just get on with it. And here we have it, Peter Pettigrew's first wand, what I like to call the Wormtail wand, and I'm so happy with it. Yes, it's a little bit hard to see from there, don't worry, we're going to get to the final reveal shots real soon, but I just want to say quickly a massive thank you to my patrons. Truly, without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do Maker Tales, and if you're enjoying what I'm doing here and you think I'm worthy of your support, I would love to see you there too. Now, I am planning to give it a little coat of matte varnish now, because it's looking a little bit plasticky, but that's going to be it, and then this will be ready to send off to my friend who has been waiting a very long time for this, and I really hope that they're going to enjoy it too. Now, this is the first of many projects that I'm planning to do. Let me know down in the comments what you would like me to tackle next. I'm starting small, but I'm planning to go big, so let me know your ideas down in the comments. All right, let's go to that final reveal.